Shalom. Allah start out by giving praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Arakah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders great Islam. Salutations to those for that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth and all faith, truth, and sincerity. This I'm one about back and getting us in. That's what we're going to about, I don't know how these say like how these the Edomites, so-called white people, red people, Edomites, the ones that's in power, rulership, they got everything, just messed up, man. People are, just wore out, tired, stressed out, all because of these greedy, so-called white people, Edomite devils that's in power, man. I say these Edomites, the red devils, especially, wearing out the Israelites, which are the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are the Israelites, the Lord's people, chosen people of the Lord, because, the so-called Negro, Latino native Israelites, we behind the 8 ball, in this society, in this world, because the Edomites had a 400-year start, right? And so, like I say, Edomites, they ruling over so-called Negro, Latino, native Israelites, and you have Jake out here, Jake, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Israelites. They be on these platforms talking about, oh, you got to save yourself and this and that and blah blah blah, try to establish yourself, not saying that you don't, not try to get some money, try, you gotta, get some type of, income, but as far as like, you're not gonna really get ahead in this society, because who's in rule, we don't, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites, we don't, this money, this currency ain't ours, these laws and so forth that's set up is not by us, which the laws really, supposed to be found the ways of the Bible, or how about the words of the laws of the Lord, how the laws of the Bible. Because the Edomite devils, they don't go by the words of the Lord, the laws of the Lord, or the Lord, how they got their own unrighteous decrees and laws that they push, and these unrighteous decrees and laws they push, is mostly towards the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites. They can't really get ahead, to keep, Israelites down, to keep the Negro, Latinos, and Natives down, man. Or till I say get Jake caught up in, in the get caught up in the prison system, and get locked up in, these, unrighteous decrees and laws, Even like I say you innocent of what you ain't did nothing. And, and like I say, you have a right to, in a situation of whatever that may be, but they still find you guilty, because like I say, they want you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites, they want y'all really just, be in slavery, man. They want y'all, really back in the fields, in chains and in these chains, how you, in chains and locked up for, forever. They want, the Edomites want you Israelites, so-called Negro, Latino natives, to be, slaves forever, locked up, and, and not be over them, but that, not be over the, the so-called white people, red Edomite devils. The Edomites don't want you Israelites to be over them, but that time is coming, that time of these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, starting with the elites of Esau, Edom, the bankers and so forth, that time, they, they rule of, oppressing the Israelites, so-called Negro, Latino natives, is coming to an end, man. They want that, they want Israelites to, like I said, still being slavery and this and that, but it's not going to happen, because like I said, Lord Yahushua is going to return and bring down you so-called white, red, Edomite devils, man, and bring y'all out of the power ship, man, and the next rulers of the earth and everything more, it's gonna be the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are the Israelites. But I'm getting to it. Ecclesiastes 10:5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler. You know, so and so there's an evil which I see on the soul. You know, I say you have these, the Edomite devils, which they are the wicked. You know, and I say, say right here, is this an error? Is this, the most, yeah, is this an error? That this ain't right. This ain't all right. What I'm seeing here is this. This is who's in power. This is, these weak heathens. These so-called white people, red Edomite devils. Excuse me. The Edomite devils are excuse me, the Edomite devils in rulership right now. These the ones that's over us, so-called Negro, Latino, Israelites. Is this an error by the Most High? And it's not, because every a nation had that time to rule, right? So this is so-called white people, East Edomites' time to rule. But their time of rulership is coming to an end, man. But next verse. Ecclesiastes 10:6. Folly is set in great dignity in the rich sit in a low place. So folly is set in great dignity. So so all this foolishness, all this stupidity, that you see on the TV, internet, or whatever, what I'm saying, or just out and about, shit, Jake out here just doing all this foolishness and stupidity, just because of the so-called white man East Side of my doubles. That's in power. You have the Israelite women out here wilding out. They just, they ain't got no sense about them. They ain't got no shame or sense about themselves or what they do or say. They just out here doing the hell they want to do because of this Edomite devils. Because they gave them liberty to goddamn do. They gave women liberty to do what the hell they want to do. Gad abroad. Scripture go into that. They just out here doing the hell they want to do. And being disrespectful to men and talking all crazy to men. In the ancient times, the Israelite women or just women back then didn't look at the man in the eye. But because of these Edomite devils that's in power, you got these women out here proud and looking, talking crazy to you. And if you slap her or punch her in the face or something, you do something like, out of anger, because she's just being disrespectful. You slap her or whatever, let's say slap, right? And then she want to fight you back. Now you start punching and doing all this stuff like that. Because like I say, these women don't have no fear and respect for men. Because of the Edomite devils, y'all did this. Y'all gave women these women rights and so forth to be equal to men and blah blah blah. All this foolishness, man. And that's why it is like it is right now. Because of these so-called white people, Edomite devils, man. They push this. They push that. And that's why everything is like it is right now, man. And like I say, if you are a true believer and loyal about Shai and its truth that the apostles and the elders and brother grandmasters teach, and teach, you will be frustrated and vexed, in the spirit of how things is around now. You would not be satisfied and want to, be comfortable here with how things is, man. It's out of order. Everything's out of order, man. It's wickedness, man. All this wickedness and these moles running around, and you got these moles that's in position of power too to make decisions, and that's why things like it is too, man. They pushed, that proud month, it had proud month, the homo, I just said the mo month, it's just, man, this shit wicked, man. It's this goddamn wicked, this wicked Edomite devils, man. They push this madness, man. And that's why Loyal Shai, he gonna return and bring these devil Edomites out of the power seat soon. I'm saying? The rich in a low place. Who the rich? the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites. The chosen people of the Lord. And like I say, in these times, the elect. The men of the Lord is pushing out the truth in the house of byways. The men of the Lord, great millstone, is pushing the truth in the house of byways. Lord Yahushua is only dealing with the elect right now. Israelites. In these times. But I say, the true, the ones that really supposed to be in rulership and in power and governing the people and how it's supposed to go, how govern the people in the ways of the Lord Yahushua, according to the Bible. How have things in order. It is the Israelites, because the Israelites supposed to be in power. Lord Yahushua, King David, House of David, and like I said, the governing body of Israel, Israelite men. It's supposed to be like that. It's going to be like that. But if it was like that right now, if it was it's set up, the Israelites was set up, by Lord Yahushua, then things won't be like it is right now. But hey, it's just the times that we are in right now. Like I said, this is the so-called white man Esau, Edomite's time of rule. Like I say, but hey, this is not a way of how you supposed to rule. The people, in the earth, in this world, this system is all backwards. It's a bunch of confusion, right? And that's why you got people like they out here like they is right now, man. They just all everywhere. They mind is everywhere, man. They just ain't right in the mind because of the Edomite doubles, man. They push all this, just foolishness and folly and wickedness, man, stupidity, man. That it just need to be, the Edomite doubles need to just get out of power, out of the way, man. Cause they messed up, man. They messed up this world, man. But let's see him go from there. So I'm gonna if I go to, let me see something. So I'm going to Isaiah 29. Isaiah 29. Okay. Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Or shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed it say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? So I say, so my so-called white people, my doubles, they turned everything upside down, man. And like I say, my doubles, they think, they trying to be like the Most High. They think they can outthink the Most High, outdo the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, they try, you ain't gonna outdo. You ain't got, like I say, your hands too short. Your hands too short the box with the Most High, Yahweh. Yahweh, Bahashim, so say like not the song Nas, you the man, right? Your hands too short the box with the Most High, Yahweh. So you my doubles, what I'm saying? Y'all think that y'all, what I'm saying? Like I say, outdo the Most High, Yahweh Basham Shai, and try to outthink Yahweh Basham Shai. No, it's not gonna work. You facing an uphill battle. You're gonna be stumbling, bumbling. Trying to, be like the Most High. Trying to establish, a way you trying to, like I said, with your new order agenda. Y'all want to have control of the people and everything and the resources and this and that for yourself and blah blah blah. You want to depopulate the earth of the people and just be like, just have y'all the rich, you proud rich nasty Edomite doubles and so forth. Y'all want to have everything for yourself and like I say, have control of a good amount of people or whatever, right? But that ain't gonna happen. Y'all vain idea of y'all new water agenda that y'all have, that y'all want to try to execute, it's not gonna work. Because like I said, Lord Yahushua is gonna come back and he's gonna destroy this place, America, Babylon the Great. And other countries gonna hit with missiles. Other countries gonna get hit with missiles as well. Not every country. But you know what I'm saying, displace America, Babylon Great gonna be destroyed. And like I said, you eat them my doubles. Like I said, you bankers that run into these bunkers, y'all not gonna get away from y'all judgment. Y'all gonna get pulled out of those bunkers. Y'all gonna go into slavery, man. You know. But so I'm gonna go from there. So man. So I'm gonna go back to Ecclesiastes 10 real quick. Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walk as servants upon the earth. So I seen servants upon horses. Those are the so-called white people, Esau, Edomite doubles. That's in power right now. I'm saying the princes walking as servants on the earth, and that's the Israelites. The Israelite men. So-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelite men. Like I say, so the Edomite doubles, they ain't power right now. They on top, but they gonna go down. They gonna come down with a hard fall, a hard, violent fall at that. And like I say, when Lord Yahushua returns, you go to 2nd Ezra 6. I ain't gonna get it, but you go to 2nd Ezra 6. Goes about Jacob, holding the heel of Esau, So that's symbolic of Esau. He came out first. But Jacob held the heel of Esau, which Jacob name would later change to Israel. So Jacob holding the heel of Esau is symbolic of Jacob, bringing Esau down on the Israelites. So Lord Yahushua return. Lord Yahushua gonna turn the chariot, so-called your foe, and bring down these so-called white people, Esau eating my doves out of the power seat, and the so-called Negro, Latino natives, they not gonna be, no service no more. Not gonna be, in servitude, under these wicked Edomite doubles or any other nation. Once the Lord Yahushua returns, and destroy this place, America, Babylon Great, and beam up the elect. Hopefully, I'm part of Russian number, but beam up the elect and be taking the chair, so-called UFO, and not have to experience that second death, which is gonna be by way of the thermonuclear missiles raining down upon America, Babylon Great. But I say, once Lord Yahushua return, he gonna remove the Edomite devils out the way, bring them down, and these Edomite devils gonna be going to slavery, and they gonna be servants, and these other nations are gonna be servants and handmaids, unto the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are Israelites, the Israelites. But I'll go from there. Go to Revelation. What's that? Revelation 9. Let's see what's what's it? No, what's it? My bad. 13. Revelation 13. So I'm going to Revelation 13 and 9. Revelation 13 and 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So you have an ear. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So yeah, you have an ear. If you can hear clear, but do you have the spiritual ears to understand this? Next verse. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So these so-called white people, Esau and my doubles, they led the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are Israelites, into captivity, and they're gonna go into captivity. And they kill with the sword, they're gonna be killed with the sword. And I say, Lord Yahushua return, the chariots, call your foe, zapping, with laser beams, And like I said, ultimately, thermal missiles raining down America, Babylon the Great. You know, or destroy this place. Here's patient faith for the saints. So that's the patient faith for the saints. That we got wait patiently. Upon the Lord Shai. To bring this so-called white people, Esau and my dogs out of power seat, man. And have these Edomites go into captivity. They're gonna have to deal with double of the cup of slavery. 1,000 years. They're gonna have to deal with it. They're gonna have to drink all of it. Drink the dregs of the cup. Drink all of it, man. They're gonna deal with the the beat down, whatever, right? Getting beat down, getting beat upside the head, working. So the Edomite devils got a lot. They're gonna have to deal with. They have to deal with a lot, man, for what they did to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites, what they did to this earth. Pushing all these lies and deception. They, pushing out these lies and deception, upon other nations and so forth. Because right now, Trump, got these other nations really, upset right now with America. Well, the decisions they doing in Iran, and so forth, and the economy and this and that. In just a matter of time for eventually all hell gonna break loose out here, and in this place America, Babylon the Great, in the cities, and like I say, we in those times of Jacob's trouble now, just the beginning, but it's gonna get worse. We in the beginning of the tribulation, the time of troubles, but it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna intensify. People going through things now, but it's only gonna get worse. People still can move around, like I say, they still out here doing whatever, but it's gonna get to a point where, like I said, one day things could change drastically. A major situation, event, it's gonna have people just out here, the power go out or something. The grid gonna get shut down or something. Something's gonna be a major situation where people just gonna is gonna have people just losing it, right? They can't, get access to certain things. Like I say, this economy gonna crash. Eventually leading up to, like I said, the chip, which is the micro C chip, which is the mark of the beast, being made mandatory. Cause like I say, you got people voluntarily taking it now, putting the micro C chip in their brain, or they got in their hand now, voluntarily. But it's gonna come to where it's gonna be mandatory. That's the main thing right there. Is it wants to become mandatory. For you to buy and sell, you're gonna have to have this. You're gonna have to have this micro C chip for you to buy and sell. And I say it's coming soon. It can happen, soon, man. But I say, because the Edomite devils, they only have a short time. Their rulership is coming to an end. So, but I didn't want to make it too long. So, hope this was edifying. So again, I'd like about praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, to the apostle elders, to the Sisakin brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters that do listen, keep the faith, and Yahushua, keep fighting with that. Say Shalom.